Okay. Good afternoon. This is the January 22nd, 2024 meeting of the Westport Board of Health. Under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20F, this meeting is being recorded. So we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So our chairwoman will be joining us later, and in her absence, I will be chairing the meeting, and so we'll start with the Health Director's written report. Any comments on that?
I have no comments or questions.
Neither do I. Do you want to give your verbal report, Matt?
Sure. So the public health nurse will be unavailable from January 15th to February 26th, 2024. If anyone has from the public has any questions or concerns, please inquire up at the Board of Health office. COVID-19 test kits are available at no cost to the public, and the kits are available at the Board of Health office. And just recent coastal storms have impacted Westport. The storms produced heavy rainfall, coastal flooding, and high winds. East Beach was significantly impacted by the storm. There was a significant storm surge which exposed and/or damaged many septic or tight tanks, particularly on the south side of East Beach Road. And a letter concerning the damage went out to the affected properties and went out on January 11th.
Okay.
Right. And as you know, we've granted them a fee waiver for the application to repair those septic systems, just in light of the costs that it's going to take to restore the properties. So I'm going to walk through the your proposed approved plans.
Sure. So we have a 3-bedroom repair on 573 Main Road for MJS Realty Trust, utilizing a Cresby system. It's been Concom reviewed, and this one does replace a cesspool. We have a 3-bedroom repair on 31 Gifford Road for JA Realty Group, utilizing a stone bed. This one's been through Concom, and this one's going to require a deed restriction because it's on a 26,486 square foot lot. We have a 4-bedroom repair on a 22,246 square foot lot on 100 Tickle Road for a Geraldine Letendre. This one's going to utilize a stone bed, and it's going to require a deed restriction. We have a 5-bedroom. We have a 5-bedroom. It's an upgrade from 3 to 5 bedrooms on an 8.4 acre lot on 51C Cross Road for an Ishan Kardal. This one's utilizing a Quick 4 and a Singular, and it's been through Concom. And we have a 4-bedroom new construction on a 60,765 square foot lot on 1747 Drift Road for a Mark Pollock, and this one's utilizing a Quick 4 and an Advantex AX20.
Okay, so
I have a question. On the, we're upgrading from a 3 to a 5-bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, is the Singular, is that a D-Night system?
Yeah, it's a 960D.
Okay. That's my question. So I don't have any questions, so
okay.
I'll make a motion to
great.
endorse the director-approved plans with 2 conditions on 31 Gifford Road, a 3-bedroom deed restriction, and 100 Tickle Road, 4-bedroom deed restriction.
And I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So you want to postpone under other business 1 and 2 till Linda's
Yeah.
here?
Yes.
Okay.
No, Tanya.
I mean, Tanya's here? Okay, yeah. And do you have any updates?
I just wanted to say that, yeah, that we had a meeting to talk about plans for the collaborative, to talk about what we're going to do for education. And I'm sure you met with Olive. Can you tell me what Olive said to you about what we talked about?
There was a few different things. They were going to introduce, try to get the superintendent for the ORR school to join your next meeting and try to connect you with them.
Right.
On that. And there was a big focus on that. And that's really all she told me about. That was a big focus of the meeting. We did talk about what about the other communities like Lakeville and Freetown? What are they going to do? So Lori is the public health nurse for Marion, Freetown, and Lakeville. So Olive said that you were going to work with Lori and try to come up with getting with the Lakeville schools and the Freetown schools, because they also share a school.
Yes, and so, I mean, part of it was that, I think the biggest part of the discussion for me was that the collaborative doesn't feel ready to do a large event. And so that the plan is that we're doing planning for individual events in each collaborative area. And I offered to do the mental health first aid presentation that I did here in Westport, to do it in other towns. But we also talked about what other kinds of public health concerns that we could do a more structured collaborative on education in each community. So that's part of, I think the big part for me was that the committee was feeling, the collaborative committee members were feeling overwhelmed with the idea of doing a large scale event. So I've offered my expertise in mental health, but I also reached out to first the people who run the mental health first aid courses to see if that's something that the collaborative could pay for, to have more course-wide and then open it up to the public. So that's some of the stuff that's being worked on, but it seemed that the core group were feeling like they weren't ready to do a larger event.
So prior to your meeting with the group, we had the governance board meeting with the collaborative, and we talked about that extensively at that governance board meeting.
Okay.
And we knew that, I knew during the meeting, course of the meeting, that, okay, we had to shift our focus to individual town, smaller events.
Okay.
And, which is fine. It's just, and the collaborative will support financially or any other way we can to help these other communities with these smaller events for their communities. I think it's something that we have to work towards, a larger event, but that doesn't mean, like, if you do end up doing something over at the school in Marion, Mattapoisett, Rochester, over there, that it wouldn't be open to all the other communities and their residents.
Mm-hmm.
So we could advertise that.
Well, I think that, some of the thinking is whatever funding there's available in the collaborative for community education is that we really look at what expertise we might be willing to pay for as well, rather than just rely on my going and doing things on mental health and mental health awareness, that there's other emphasis in other areas, and maybe bring in and pay for some other expertise to come in. So, and there may be even some opportunities to do that where there are continuing education credits for professionals. Mm-hmm. So that, like mental health first aid, that there would be some continuing education credits for them. So just wanted to be, I'm going to be continuing to work with the group and with Olive. We're meeting in 2 weeks to talk about what each person, we had an assignment and what we were able to accomplish during that time. But I think it's really important that the community is aware that that we are working not in silos, but we're connecting so that we can broaden our resources and our support within our particular area, so.
So just one last thing on that. I did tell all this morning that we're in January, right? June 30th is a long way off, but you're planning individual events, and the planning, the organizing, all the behind-the-scenes stuff takes time.
Yep.
And we may not be able to pull off everything we want to between now and the end of this fiscal year, because it's just so, there's 6 towns. So it may be a little tough to do that, and I also suggested that maybe, if necessary, talk it out with your group, but maybe pick up the meeting frequency to every week if necessary, just to keep things moving, at a good pace.
Well, I know there's some concern about the fiscal year and using some of the financial resources for that, but I think that this certainly would help us plan for a larger event.
Mm-hmm.
We could also do a needs assessment along the way, and I think that's part of it, was the needs of the community, and we haven't really had a chance to do that.
As far as financial goes, all I can say is, the PHE fund will support whatever we can. I just need to have an idea as we go through this, so I can just keep track and see what we have and not overcommit the funds.
Okay.
So I have nothing to update.
You don't?
I don't.
What have you been doing with your time, Phil?
I don't know, but whatever it was, it's not updatable. Okay, so are there any of the variances that that wouldn't require a butter notification?
Well, I'm pretty sure they all require
Require
butter notification.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if 9 Greenwood, which is our first one, you were planning on any butters coming?
No, she's never responded to either certification we sent to her.
I don't know if you wanted to wait or.
Yeah, I mean, right, so that hearing wasn't scheduled to 4:30, it's now 4:20, so.
I don't have any.
Hmm?
I don't have any butter notification.
Oh, you don't? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, come on up. So you're 9 Greenwood?
No, I'm
1930.
1903, yeah.
Oh, 19th, okay, sorry. Okay,
It's just the setback.
19th, that's what I meant, I'm sorry, I hit the right one, yeah.
I emailed that to you, but we just got it today, so I don't know if you had a chance to even look.
I did. There looked, the nitrates, 8.7, I think?
Yeah, it was below 10, but it's still a little on the high side. No bacteria, nitrites were low.
Is this house being used now?
Nobody's in there right now.
Nobody's living in it.
How long has it been vacant?
They, since the summer, yeah,
So,
they had like weekly rentals or something.
it was just, I was just wondering, because the nitrates are at 8.77, and I was wondering why they were so high. I had I thought that nobody was there, that's why I was curious why they're so high, with
Point
nobody
of
being there.
clarification, which one are we talking about?
Oh, talking about 19 3rd Street.
Okay, our 440 appointment. Got it. Okay,
Okay,
and I did see that they were high.
yeah, so you want to see the,
Yes.
okay.
Okay. Now, speak accordingly. Greg Nicholas of South Coast Engineering, representing Andrew Delcia for his property at 19 3rd Street. This is an existing 2-bedroom home on a 7,500 square foot lot. So with this small parcel of land which we need to work, we have an existing cesspool, which is actually piped in from a septic tank. So yes, one of those was done as an after-the-fact plumbing of the tank. So what we're proposing to do is install a single-layer system. It will be a pump system and also an infiltrator field. Because of the setback to the well, which is one of the variances we've been requesting, is the setback to the locust well is 67.5 feet. We're unable to get any kind of, or request any kind of a waiver on the 4-foot separation of ground walls, and hence we're using the infiltrator as opposed to the Presby. It didn't do us any good. And the other request that will be, that we're asking for, the variance that we're asking for, is a SIM analysis in lieu of the percolation test. Now, this SIM analysis was done back in 2020. There was a design done for this, for some reason never submitted. And I had that SIM analysis data, but when we received it, I went with Matt and we reviewed percolation tests that were done in the area to make sure that what they were telling us was consistent with what was actually done in the field. It turned out that it was. The rates were, consistent with what we have over here. I didn't want to design something on questionable data, something that was not involved. So, anyway, what we have for one request as far as the setback is the well, 67.5 feet. We're able to make the property line setback as well as the setback to the house with the system and the proposed tank and pump chamber. So that's what I have for the review of the project. If they have any questions from the board.
Let me turn it over to Matt first. Do you have any?
I don't have any questions about what you just talked about. My question's more about the, you're using a TNT model, not a DN model. So the TNT and the DN models are the same, except the way you're going to adjust the recirculation rates on the TNT model, so it acts like D-Night.
Okay.
So, can I see that piece of paper that you still have?
You want to see the?
The one that I gave you, with the tiniest comments
Oh,
on
yeah.
it?
Actually, I think it was just noted to
Did you give it back?
adjust the aeration. I don't think there was a 60-minute.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I can
Anyways,
put my hands
if
on
you
it.
look at the TNT manual, it'll tell you what you can set the aeration rate to do that, and, so the aeration rate is 60 minutes on and 60 minutes off to enable the D-Night capability.
What is it without the 30 and 30?
With the TNT, yeah.
Yeah. I do just, yeah.
So do you want that like as a condition of the?
You can add it into the motion, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any? Do you have any comments, Donna?
Let me see if I wrote anything. No. I don't have any. So there's going to be a few conditions, right?
There are, right, for the setback from the SAS to the well and a sieve analysis. I think you can just refer to the distances that are set out on the plan. Is that, because that's what you have here, right, those two?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Concom.
Yeah, well, I've got a bunch written down. I'll go ahead and make a motion. I move that we approve the plan for 19 3rd Street, owned by Andrew Delcid, dated 1/4/24, for a 2-bedroom repair with the following conditions: a 2-bedroom deed restriction, a hold harmless, Concom review, 3 years of water testing, and a 5th one to set the aeration rate on the Singular TNT 500 for 60 minutes on, 60 minutes off. Is that what she said? Good. And the following variance: reduction of the SAS to the well from 100 feet to 67.5, and the use of a sieve analysis.
All right, I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
That's great.
So that's good. Thank you. All right, so okay, so now we've got 9 Greenwood Ave.
Yes.
Okay. I think we're close enough. Okay.
Darren McHale from Foresight Engineering here on behalf of the property owner for Greenwood. This is a continued hearing. We were trying to get a hold of the butter for testing across the street at 10 Arlington. She has not responded to any of my mailings. We finally have all of our paperwork. We're able to get access to the house to test the well. The new owners are able to sign the deed restriction, fill that out, it's ready to be recorded, and also the owner's certificate and the bank. Very, very tight lot, 8,000 square foot with a 3-bedroom house. As well as in the front yard, so we're getting as absolutely as far away as we can without asking for property line setbacks. We do have a retaining wall on the north side. There's still several cesspools around us, although the systems behind us and around us have been upgraded, but the systems across the street have not yet. The house was unoccupied for about 6 to 8 months. So I know the nitrates came in, I believe, right at 10. So I'd probably, recommend the 3-year testing, but we are putting in the D-night, so hopefully that'll help the situation. This will be the only D-night in the neighborhood right now.
Okay.
Yeah, let me just.
Do you have any comments, Matt?
Just to say that they were able to move the tank greater than 50 feet away from the well,
Yeah.
so we don't have to do the full
Oh, good,
variance,
yeah.
so.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Other than that, I don't have any comments.
Okay. Any other comments? Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right. Seeing none, do a motion? Can you do that, Donna?
Do you feel like you're ready?
Ready?
Did you have any comments?
Nope, I don't have any comments. Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the project, how many bedrooms is it?
3-bedroom.
3-bedroom septic for Jermaine Baker at 9 Greenwood Avenue with a plan dated
Revision 12/26/23.
12/26/23.
Yep.
With the following, with the following local upgrade requests. Reduction of a required setback of the septic tank from the existing foundation from 10 feet to 5. Reduction of the required setback of the leach field from the existing foundation from 20 to 18 feet. Reduction of the required setback of the leach field from the locust well from 100 feet to 55 feet. Reduction of the required setback of the leach field from an abutting well from 100 feet to 84 feet. To allow use of a sieve analysis and to allow a single deep observation hole due to limited area. With the following conditions. Hold harmless. Does this still need Concom?
Yeah,
approval?
it's Concom.
Concom approval. 3-bedroom deed restriction. 2 years of water testing?
3 years.
3 years. 3 years of water testing for the homeowner and a butter, right?
Yes.
IA conditions, do we need total nitrogen? No. Right. This is an upgrade.
Yes, sir. So I'm saying.
Just have a question.
Yeah.
So the abutter, which is 10 Arlington, who hasn't responded,
Yes.
are they going to allow well testing for the 3 years, or we don't know if they're going to allow it?
I can't force them to.
I just want to make the board aware.
Yeah,
that's all.
in the past, I know that people who are butters have objected to their wells being tested because then they are responsible for repairing them if there are issues. So I know that she already had hers tested, I assume for her septic, because her septic was only 50 feet away. And that was a few years ago, so I'm sure you have something on record of her well, but I haven't seen those yet, so.
So the question is, my question is, for the homeowner at 9 Greenwood who pays for all the well testing for the abutter and their own property, do we charge them for the abutter, even if they're probably not going to allow them to test the well?
You mean collect the funds to do that?
Yes,
Yeah.
because we collect the funds up front.
Right.
Well, I think can we collect the funds and refund if the homeowner?
We guess we can track it. I just have to have Nancy make a note of it because it's tracked separately, separate
Yeah.
accounts and everything.
The homeowner may change, I don't,
Yes, the
I don't
new,
know.
that house could be sold and then that person
right.
would want their well
So
tested.
I think it's better to I apologize to the homeowner
Yes.
that's,
Okay.
you know, but we would do a
It seems
refund.
more than fair, that way if someone steps in, the fees are there and they're not chasing somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just, I'll make sure Nancy makes a note of it.
Yeah, okay,
Well, I'll second the motion, because you've completed the motion.
Oh.
yes.
Yeah. So all in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right. So pass the gavel to you, Madam Chair.
Okay, the next one's at 4:40, so
We skipped over other business, so if you
Yeah,
want to
so-
go back to that.
you want to go
Yeah.
back to that? Let's do
Yeah.
that. We had, did you did the director approved plans?
Yeah, so we're at you wanted to talk about the contracts, I think.
Okay,
is what we-
yep.
what we postponed.
So we have the employment agreement for Linda Pierce and Matt Armendo in front of us, proposed. Matt, any comments you want to make?
So we'll start with Linda's. Linda likes doing hers year to year rather than at a 36-month term. So that's, her contract language is all the same, except we changed the dates to be appropriate. There's a 3% increase on her hourly rate from last year, which is reflected here under Section 3 compensation. Other than that, it's exactly the same as it was last year.
Any questions or comments? I'd entertain a motion to approve the contract for Linda Pierce. This still has to go before the select board.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you.
With my contract, same exact thing, all the language is exactly the same, with the exception of the dates were changed to reflect the appropriate 3-year term and the 3% increase. Other than that, everything's exact the way it was last time around.
Any questions or comments?
No.
I did want to say that I think we should do a performance review just to document. So sometime this spring, wouldn't hold this up, but it just, let's schedule a working meeting at some point and proceed with something like that.
Okay.
We've done
Yeah,
it in
good
the
idea.
past, but it's important to document his stellar performance, and we're very glad that he's here. So, motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous, thank you. Okay. We still have a few minutes, 2 minutes. Anybody have a short, or did you do?
We did. Mhm.
Member
Did
updates?
updates,
We
yeah.
did member
Okay,
updates.
well, I'll do mine then. I don't, did you talk about short-term rental at all?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I thought that you were the best. Sure.
As you know, there was a public hearing, there was a working group meeting last week, which was joint between the subcommittee and the planning board. The planning board has proceeded with recommending a registration process, a very streamlined, not labor-intensive process for registering short-term rentals. There are no conditions really on it, except for the proposal is a minimum of 1 week rentals, at least in the residential district. So that's before the selectmen tonight for whether to go on the warrant. So that's the end of that process. The Board of Health would not be involved in any way, except if there are complaints relating to Board of Health matters.
The registration process would go through the building department?
Yes,
Right.
go through the building department, we have no hands-on. I wanted to mention that we had a presentation from Ben Gilman about the plastics recycling ban, and when we met with him, we said, develop a more robust outreach process for next year. I was thinking at this year's town meeting, we'll have a lot of controversial items on it. So anyways, I met with him, follow up just to talk through, give him some ideas about how to do more local outreach and build support for it. And again, if either of you want to reach out to him for any of your advice, that would be helpful, I'm sure. You have his contact information from the email. I also wanted to mention that there's a public meeting tomorrow night about the proposed sewer for Route 6 at the new high school at 6 o'clock. So just, it's been, at least, it's a good way at least to learn more about it. I don't know much about where it stands at this point. So
Who's leading that?
the infrastructure committee, I believe, the consultants that they have, I believe, will be there to do some presentations. I really don't know a lot about it. There hasn't been a lot of publicity around it.
Yeah, I went to one previously at the library, and it was, there were members of the infrastructure committee there, but the presentation was, done by the engineering consultant, who's kind of walking through the different phases of the project and a bunch of the issues. So, yeah, so it's, I don't know that they're coming up with a specific proposal. I think it's primarily information and getting feedback.
I think they are going to be asking a town meeting for,
Yes.
so they have to build a
Right.
case for it.
Right.
So,
I just meant it wasn't a public hearing at which a decision was going to be made in that
no,
sense.
No, it's just informational.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Yeah.
So I just wanted to mention that. And I believe Mr. Nicholas?
No, we already did that hearing.
Oh.
We moved it up.
Yeah, we moved it up.
So the next one's at 4:15.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry. I saw him in the hallway. I thought he was waiting for.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So that's been taken care of. So next one is at 4:50. So we have, any other business we need to take care of?
I just wanted, based on what we booked for the infrastructure committee meeting, we were asked to bring our sign up to the Macoma School to advertise the meeting.
Oh,
So we had no problem. We dragged it up there today, put the appropriate message on it, so people will know that there's a meeting going on. Because I do believe what they're talking about here may affect that neighborhood with the water and sewer coming down by the Macoma, and I'm not 100% sure, but that's what I'm hearing, so I think that's why they wanted to advertise it up that way.
oh, so you put it up
At the
north?
Macoma School.
Oh, okay.
They're talking about going up.
I don't think that's part of their phase 1 plan, but
I don't know what it
but
is
it might
exactly,
be,
but
might be
I
part
see
of the
different things.
subsequent phase.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of, not misinformation, but just there's not a lot of
Right.
clarity, I guess.
Right,
is- So,
Yeah, nothing official, so I was just asked to bring the sign up there, and we did to advertise the meeting. So.
okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else we can cover?
Do we need to try to schedule a working meeting?
Sure, we can try to do that. My head is, I think I need to look back at what we did for prior reviews and documentation. I just, my head isn't here.
Okay.
So I'm not sure when I'll be ready for that. But let's look at the calendar because we've got time now.
That's why I was suggesting that.
Well, there was an issue, isn't an update, but just, where we go to the topics, not the topics for a subsequent meeting, was dealing with what I believe is the conflict between our regulations in terms of the well setback for new wells from the septic systems, in which our regs have 50 feet and Title V is 100 feet.
All right.
And there's a provision in Title V says you can't install a new well less than 100 feet from the septic system, and our regulations. Did you look into this, Matt, to confirm this? Am I not making this up?
I didn't look at it. I didn't
Okay.
confirm it. I didn't have a chance.
I'm pretty sure that's the case, and
You mean our local septic
our
regulations?
local, yes, yeah, our local septic regulation, which is a 2005 regulation.
Oh, not this one.
Not this one, but
Oh,
the one
the-
that talks about the well installation rules.
Oh, okay,
And it
yes.
came up as a result of a conversation that, someone called me up and was just asking, for some, kind of advice about this, and this issue would kind of come up in House earlier, and it's just a provision of Title V that, did not rise to our attention, but, and I thought that, and this was a situation in which the question came to me, in which someone had recently installed a well. They were sharing a well. I think they wanted to sell their property, so they installed a new well 50 feet from their system. And then the buyer, prospective buyer, contacted me with some questions, and it surfaced for me that that I think that well installers were following our local regulation, and that we needed to kind of just think about A, changing it, and B, I think letting installers, depending how long our process is, let installers know
They
that,
follow Title V.
yeah, that Title V is really the rule they need to follow, and yeah. So it's a topic for further discussion, but I wanted to get it on the agenda just because I didn't want the situation that was described to me kind of repeated, because everyone was following the wrong.
I think I know Matt has talked in the past about updating, because the well regulations, where we can do something similar to, as we did with septic, can bring everything in together.
Right.
Make sure it's all consistent with Title V and with our other regulations, so that's a great idea.
Yeah, and I was just concerned from the time that may take us several months to do, depending on work schedules, whereas if we got a message out to well installers in advance of that, I think would be a good public health thing to do, so that we're not...
Well, let's put that on a next working meeting agenda, because we can talk about which, just sort of the outlines. And maybe, figure out the most effective way to move that forward, because I agree with you that we have a lot of regs that are kind of have not aged well, perhaps.
So I just think, because it was, so I think we just relied, somehow that slipped through the crack, the 50-foot rule, and I think we just took it because it had been adopted and it was pretty basic.
Yeah. Okay, so let's put that on the agenda, performance review for Matt.
Are we ready to talk about the people that don't have plans on file?
We could get an update from Gabby on that, because she's been working on that project, correct? So, no plans. I noticed, because I update our database for each meeting, and at least a couple of the projects, either in the hearings or in the director plans, were historically no plan. And so we're knocking off some over time, but yes, we need to, no plans.
This is the agenda for the working meeting.
Yeah, this is the agenda for the working meeting.
So the well reg review and performance review.
And no plans. Update on where we are with the no plans strategy, and how we do some communication going forward on that. So we were looking, I was going to suggest the week of February 12th, because I'm not ready next week. We have Board of Health on the 5th, so I'm just trying to spread it out. But so the week of the 12th.
Either the Monday or the Wednesday are good for me. We have the blood drive on the 15th.
Okay.
I can't do the 13th because we have a big training that day.
Okay. Is the day before not good for you? The 12th?
The 12th is good. It's a Monday.
Yeah.
What is that Monday?
It's a Monday, but no meeting.
Yeah, so that's good. That would work.
How about you, Phil?
I think that'd be fine.
Okay, so like 10 o'clock, or 11 o'clock, or 1 o'clock, or what?
Well, what's better for Matt, because,
Before lunch works best for me, so 10 o'clock.
So,
10 a.m., February 12th.
okay.
Working meeting. While we're on our agenda, on our calendars, the 19th is President's Day, so that's a holiday, we have to move that Board of Health
The
meeting.
18th. Isn't the
No,
18th?
The 19th is Monday.
Oh, wait a minute. Wrong calendar. Yes, you're right, sorry.
Can we move that to Tuesday, or do you have Concom on Tuesday?
I do well, it's in the evening, though.
yeah, but
Okay. Are you
Tuesday
okay
is
with-
not a good day for me.
Tuesday's not? Okay.
Wednesday is fine, the 21st.
That day is, if it's gonna, I'm leaving that day at noontime.
Okay, so not, well, then let's, can we see if we can skip that meeting or go early, or what?
We could play it by ear. We've got another meeting in between that, right?
Yeah,
So what's the,
see what the workload is like.
yeah, and then
Okay.
we can maybe readdress it on the 5th.
Okay. All right, we are at time for our 4:50 PM discussion, which I believe might be you.
Yes, it is.
Lucy, is that correct?
Yes.
Come on up.
Where would you like me?
Just have a seat right there. If you just pull the mic over so that they can hear you for the
Yep.
tape. So, welcome. The
you.
floor is yours. Why don't you start with giving us the background of what you're looking for specifically, and then we'll open it up for discussion.
Okay. I am about to be acquiring 672 River Road, which is currently my mother's property. And I will be demoing the current 5-bedroom house and rebuilding a 4-bedroom house with garage that will have a 5th bedroom in it. And my parents built a septic on the site in 2017, which I have the plan and as-built for. So I'm asking for like a request to exemption from needing to install the nitrogen reducing system, just because it's fairly new. And I'm not adding any bedrooms and not really changing the footprint very much. So yeah, that's the extent.
Okay, and, let me see if there's any comments from Matt, and then we'll open it up to the board for discussion.
I don't really have any comments other than it just checks that box in our local regulation as a willful demolition in a new property that requires an occupancy permit, which requires D9. So it's really going to be up to the board, because the system is not that old, how they want to proceed.
Okay, I'm going to open it up to the board members for discussion.
So, yeah, I mean, it is clearly new construction the way we define it. I think that the reason for adding denitrification to a relatively updated system is because those systems are not really designed to treat nitrogen. So it isn't so much as doing something, that is redundant to what your system is now already doing. It is adding an environmental reduction impact to the river, which your property is close to. So therefore, overall, reducing the impact of the system. And you can, leach field can stay the same. I guess, I don't know, depending on the system, whether your septic tank could stay the same, or you would just have to essentially put in an upgraded, septic, treatment system to your tank.
Okay.
So the cost would, relative, to demolishing and reconstructing a 5-bedroom system, house, would be, would be very marginal in that sense. So, so that's the kind of logic of that. That's the kind of logic of it, and at least for me, it's with all these variations about what new construction means. It's difficult to try to be, I guess, put it this way, we're trying to be fairly consistent with the way that we handle new construction, and so I think we're trying to treat new construction, which adds additional environmental protection, as something that would require really kind of overwhelming reasons not to require denitrification, which I don't see here.
Okay. So, yeah, I guess my argument is just that because there's already a 5-bedroom.
Right, right, and that,
it's not
right,
really changing.
right,
But
right,
I understand.
yeah,
It's still.
right, right.
So I'm
If you were,
not-
right, if you were doing renovations to the house that didn't necessarily, fall into the area of new construction,
Mhm.
you would be able to use your existing system. The fact that you're demolishing the existing house and building a brand new house that requires all the permitting associated with the new house, it leads to the conclusion that I think we should go.
You think I should add?
I think you need to, to be consistent with how we've been implementing our regulations, that the logical thing to do would, just be to hire an expert and, pick the system that works best for your site.
Mhm.
I would agree with Phil in that, just to give a little background, the town has a what's called a total maximum daily load amount that we have to achieve to under state and federal law to have a clean river, have an adequately clean river, and so this is one of the strategies we've adopted. We're trying to, we're requiring that cesspools get phased out because they're the least
Mhm.
environmentally protective. But when there's a situation where there's a total demolition, reconstruction, it's a big investment, understood, but this is then a relatively small cost, and especially since you presumably, you haven't had a Title V inspection, but presumably it's operating fine,
Mhm.
and you probably, just guessing, don't have a lot of heavy usage if it's turning over now. So it's probably perfectly fine, and then it's just adding a component. It's not, as Phil said, not redoing the entire septic system. So I would be supportive of that position as well. However, I will say you have the right to request a formal variance from our regulation, which would require a public hearing, notification of abutters, and submission, similar to what you've done, but in a more formal manner. So I don't want to say, I don't want to foreclose that option. You certainly can do that.
Okay. If I want to go ahead with my demo and building permit for the house,
Mhm.
where does if I were to get the D-Night system, is that like the first step in the order, or?
It does not have to be, I don't think.
It
I
has to be
mean, it doesn't
planned
have to
out,
be-
or it has to be like in the plans for the permitting, or?
I guess what we would do is sign off to allow, the building application to do all that, but we wouldn't sign the occupancy permit until we had all the the plans and the design for the D-night approved by the board. If you're not gonna seek a variance.
Okay, so I could go ahead with building, I just couldn't live in it until I've had that updated.
Right.
Okay.
Well, you should, how do I say this? Whoever is doing the contracting work for you would probably be the best person to ask how you would want to phase doing what you're doing, right? Because you could have certain heavy equipment on the site that would be equally good for doing different things.
Right, yep,
Yeah,
no,
it's kind of
definitely, I just don't
but,
wanna
yeah,
like,
right.
know that, get things moving along and then
Right.
be like, no, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it sounds like,
Yeah.
I'll talk to my contractor.
Yeah, and he
Right.
can check in with Matt to
Yeah.
discuss the, because, there's, with the demolition and reconstruction, there's variables in terms of protecting the existing system and opening up whatever you need to do, if that's the way you go.
Okay, and what is the process of requesting a variance? Like, would I be meeting at, like, coming to the next board meeting, or? is
That
it
would have to be
a
scheduled, you
modification?
notify, there's a process to notify abutters for a variance.
Okay,
So anybody within 100 feet of the property line, is that what
It
it is?
doesn't really say in Title V, but 100, 300, some people do 300.
Okay. And then the appointment will get scheduled. So you need to know that date in order to notify abutters when the hearing will be. So there's a process for scheduling that if you want to go that
okay.
way.
All right, think about it.
And you could use this letter, because you need to supply some kind of letter of why you're requesting the variance, but you could just use this.
Okay.
Donna, any comments?
I always like to listen to the words of wisdom of my colleagues, but I did review the regulation, and the same. It's new construction, considering that there's a purposeful demolition and replacement of an existing home. So it's I don't support not doing a D-night.
Okay.
Okay.
I understand, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay. The next discussion is 5 p.m. Len Potter representing Alex Krapp at 10 Hillside Road. Mr. Potter.
There you go. No, I want to fall off.
Good evening, Len Potter here for Alex and Julia Krapp. This is the building contractor, 11 Gillespie.
Nope.
And this is a discussion for information to lead me in the right direction. This property, I repaired a septic system on this property, and everybody can't see it, back in whatever it was, 90-something.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. And since that time, well, the house was here, that's been changed to a larger unit. The well is here. And they've acquired the property up in here. And that is, I got copies of that here.
The same.
Thank you.
This kind of shows it better. And we're looking at number 10, and you can see the house is different than what I had back in the day. And the well is located in red right behind the corner of the house. That's showing the plan here. And what they want to do, there was a studio into this old garage building, and it's been upgraded. And Levin is now gutting it out and trying to put it back together. And the question is, they're not looking for an apartment, and we want to call those
Accessory.
Yeah, I'm
Accessory.
not trying to do that, but they have a bathroom facility in there, been there, and that's tied into the system through the foundation of the house, and all goes into this leaching field in front. I thought, in order to upgrade this septic system to a 5-bedroom unit, I have to do another perk test there, of course, and then I have to enlarge it. But the present system is only 63 feet from the existing well. And the current system is 64 feet from wetlands across the street. So in my mind, I thought they'd have to do something to get that water supply 100 feet away. So my thought was first is to try to take and put that system on the upper lot. And I cannot do that because the wells of all the adjoining properties intersect and wipe that theory right out. So I have to keep the system on this side. So consequently, they could drill a well up on that high lot, but they have a good well in that location right behind the house, on the west side of the house. System's on the east side. So Matt thought, not to put words in his mouth, but he thought that if they put the new system in the same location as the existing one and maintain that 63 feet, they want D-Night regardless. They want to put a D-Night system in. And if you put the D-Night, the thought is that we could keep the well in the same location because they have good water and they don't want to take a chance on getting poorer water somewhere else. No, that's the reason I'm here. Am I saying that right, Logan?
Yeah, that's essentially correct. I mean, this apartment here off of, if you want to see what it kind of looks like, this is the garage, and this was this little apartment. And we did, when they bought the house a few years back, we did a renovation on the main house. And this little apartment was all together, all the plumbing, it had a bathroom, it had a little kitchen, and it was just moldy, so we gutted it at that time. Mm-hmm. So we said, you know, down the road we can come back and renovate that for you. Mm-hmm. You know? And so now fast forward, this was that time. And when we went to pull the permit, Ralph couldn't prove that there had been a kitchen there. So that's when we went through the appeal process for an accessory apartment, just, you know, to try to get it through, not thinking that the septic had always been kind of undersized for the use. Mm-hmm. So that's what started this whole thing. And essentially, I know, you know, they're perfectly willing to expand the septic, but moving the well was a bridge too far. So if that's the main thing.
Okay. Can I ask a question? Because I'm confused. You said you thought about moving the well to this upper lot.
In my mind's eye, the well had to be 100 feet away to expand the septic system.
Right, but you said it is because the other wells are too close?
I can't put I was thinking of putting the system up in that.
Oh, okay, got it.
And maybe drilling a well on the opposite side. Because that's all nice high dry ground, there's no wetlands to worry about, but I can't. There's not an inch of land on that lot that doesn't intersect with an existing well.
Okay, so where would the septic?
Right where it is.
Where
now,
it currently.
on the front side. Right in here.
So the septic is right in here,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, the tank is over here, and the system is here.
Because they own this property too, but that's all wet.
Yeah, most of it's wet, yes.
And the well is here. I'm just trying to understand the well is here, okay. And the well can't go here.
They could put a well in there, but they prefer not to because they're afraid of not getting as good a water as they have now.
Right. If the well is allowed to stay in its current location, they will expand the septic system. If they have to move the well, they're going to leave the septic as it is, and then we're going to have to downgrade we're going to have to make that space that we're renovating no longer can be a bedroom.
Okay. So it's obviously not a cost factor for drilling a new well. It's just they don't want to take a risk.
They don't
They
wanna
think
take
it's
a
a
risk,
risk to
They
drill.
have good water with the well that they currently have, and, you know, just experience in that area, it's kind of hit or miss depending on the property, whether or not you get solid, you know, so they didn't want to do that.
Okay, and how is it a deep well, shallow well? What is it?
It's a deep well.
Deep well.
It's an artesian.
And these wells, do we know how good those wells
I
are?
didn't check them. I didn't check the quality.
Mhm.
I just need clarification of what you were saying about expanding the system. Are you still proposing reducing a bedroom in the existing house and then adding a bedroom?
Nobody wants to, they want to add that apartment as a bedroom.
Okay,
Yeah.
And I said it wasn't, but it is an accessory apartment.
okay. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about another case. Okay, yep,
You know,
okay.
That's coming next.
Right, okay, yep, yeah.
How much does it cost to drill a well?
Oh, it can be 8,000 to 10,000. Then you get the connection and you're gonna put a new pump, you're not gonna use the old pump. You can get up there.
Yeah, okay.
Depends on the depth, that's the most important thing.
So it would need the request would need a formal variance
Right.
if we were with a butter notification, all that, because this is a this is a Title V variance that we need. Okay. Thoughts? We're looking for guidance.
Yeah, well, what influences me, there are two things about it. I mean, one is that we generally approve local upgrade approvals without requiring wells to demonstrate that wells cannot be moved, which is really how the system, how the regulations kind of prioritize things that we should do. So if this was simply an upgrade approval, we would not require the well to be moved, we would just grant the waiver. So that's one thing. And then I guess in terms of the public health aspect of it, I think there are, if we did testing and, we had well treatment as an option, that at least for the site owners, that would be a way we could do the public health thing. So I would say if a motion was made not to require the well to be moved, I could support it. But, I think that the cleaner way to do it is to require the well, but I don't feel compelled to go that way.
Yeah, I think the only difference between our typical case is usually it's an undersized lot. There's no room to move the well. So,
Well,
but
okay.
I see your point.
I haven't participated in one of those things where we have pressed the issue, demonstrate you can't move the well before you ask for a setback variance. And I think that for whatever reason that has way how the board has handled it. So that is why I'm raising it.
Okay. Donna?
I'm a little confused because there's two that you're doing, right? There's one for 3060 Shore Road, and we're doing the one for 10 Hillside.
10 Hillside,
This
yes.
one right now.
Yeah. 10 Hillside.
These are just kind of marked differently in a way.
They're
that's a
marked
little bit
differently, and so
confusing.
I'm
It's
looking
a little
at,
bit confusing.
so I'm looking at the highlighted one, which is
Yeah,
the
but which-
other one, and that's why I am
Yeah,
perhaps
yeah,
confused.
that's the
Okay.
confusing part, yes. That's why I
Okay, so
made
then
a mistake.
so then that was my only, it was like a point of clarification. I was very confused based on the highlighting on this.
Don't worry, I get confused too, it's all right.
Well, no, it has 10 Hillside Road, and this is the part that's highlighted, and that's highlighted.
Ah, I see.
You see, so
Yeah,
now it makes more sense to me. Okay. No, I don't have any other comments.
Okay, I'm not wildly enthusiastic, but, they're willing to give up, accessory apartment because they don't want to drill a well. Seems odd, but, it would be a formal variance. You can always ask for a formal variance. I can't guarantee the outcome, but, probably you get it. So, there you go.
All right, so it's worth me doing a perk test. We need 2 perks. I got 1 perk here that was done after 95, so this perk is okay. Soil description. I'll do a second perk and then I'll come up with a plan for the 5-bedroom.
Yes, I'd like to see a well test result too.
Oh, absolutely. That's no problem.
If the well test result comes back very bad, you may.
All bets are off.
Yeah,
yeah, right, yeah.
Got it.
Then you may want to.
yeah.
Right.
So you might want to do
right.
the well test first.
If they want D-night, I mean, there's no question about it.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But why don't you do a well test first?
Yeah,
Because we think it's good. They
Yeah.
might like the taste of it, but it might not be.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's another, right.
So,
I was going to ask, how do we know the well is good, the water's
Yeah,
good?
that was
Okay,
another aspect, the D-night was another aspect that informed my attitude
Yeah.
about it. Because I think that,
well, it's an upgrade, it's an increase in flow. So.
yeah, no, I acknowledge that. But I do think in terms of kind of equivalent environmental protection to some extent, for what we're looking at, if it's clean in other areas,
Yeah.
you know, then it's, you know.
The well is actually uphill with the septic like
Right.
10 or 15 feet in height, and everything's falling to the pond. In reality.
Everything is flowing to the
Right.
pond, that's
Yeah,
right.
right.
That's why we're happy you're
Right,
doing
right,
DDOT.
exactly,
Right.
yeah, so that, yeah,
Yeah.
right,
Right.
I'm telling you that in college, water runs downhill
yeah.
Okay,
sometimes. All right, I gotta give you the information on the laboratory, okay?
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, folks.
thanks for coming
Appreciate
in
it.
tonight. Okay, we are now moving on to 36 East Shore Road, correct?
Hello. Now I'm going to look at this differently.
Becky Turner,
Becky Turner.
I do have, these plans were drawn, they're not correct yet because they reduced the size of the garage apartment. Donna, this one for you.
Thank you.
This will reference.
You want that?
Yeah. And also, I need direction on what I'm doing here also.
Thank you.
So, you're going to back up and start at the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, several years ago, I came before the board with Dwayne Turner, and the request at that time was to do this studio barn, no, just a barn at that time, and this is a vacant lot right now in joint ownership with number 36. 36 was their mother's house. And it's a 2-bedroom system that was upgraded several years ago. And now the thought came through that they would like to take 1 bedroom out of this house and put it over here in the barn. They'll make a loft and you'll have an upstairs, and that'll be the accessory apartment, I guess you want to call it. And down below would be open garage space, storage of boats, et cetera, et cetera. This plan showed several years ago the water on this side, the mom's house, she gets that from her brother up in here. The water wasn't that great, so they wanted their own well. So I installed this well, shallow well, and the water came out fantastic. The proposal at that time, and still this time, was to pipe that water across the street to number 36. And while doing so, we installed a 2-inch force main along with the water line across East Shore Road and took that up onto the 36, property 36, stubbed it up, and the water line went all the way. The sewer line's waiting for this to happen. Several years have gone by, the original plan expired anyway, but the well is in, the lines are in, and now they propose to take 1 bedroom from this house and put it into this, onto this barn, so to speak. The thought came because the uncle, Hadfield, if you look up to the right-hand corner, Plat 58, 125 Don Hadfield Realty Trust, that is Becky's uncle, and I fixed that septic system several years ago, and he had a 2-bedroom home on that property. He had the plans upstairs, and they took 1 bedroom out of the house, and he built a garage behind it, and put an accessory apartment above the garage. That's what's given him the idea for this. That's all fact, that's all done. 2022, the paperwork said.
Yeah, January, well, I got it right here, actually.
Yeah.
The building application came through on November of '21, and the septic whatever letter came in for the septic was January of '22.
Right.
But that's all on one property?
It's all one property.
Okay.
So now, consequently, what they want to do is very similar, and they've already an architectural plan showing how this house would be rearranged to have 1 bedroom, and they have a preliminary plan here to show what's going to happen in the upper area of this studio barn. So I need to get the board's thought on this whole operation. As far as the buildability of it, I don't know. It is common ownership. You can look up the deeds. And what the building department's gonna say, I don't know, but they'll have to find out. You haven't talked to the building inspector yet, have you?
No,
Has Wayne talked to him, or
no, we're waiting to get.
waiting for this, okay. So what the question is that this is a vacant lot, is it a buildable lot? Well, it's okay to put a barn on it,
Yeah,
but it might not be okay to have a dwelling on it, so to speak. But they are in common ownership. This is a private road. Since you own this side and that side, you actually own half the road, so technically it's connected to a certain degree, but that's up to the building department, the zoning officer to figure out. But I'm more interested in finding out what the Board of Health feels about the project. They would do a Title V inspection on the system, make sure they're still functioning properly, and take it from there. And all the other necessary information. I don't want to turn all this into you until I do the formal.
Yeah.
You don't need to see that. You don't need to see that now.
So, the barn has been built?
No.
Okay, so
Okay,
it
so
would
it's
be
new
new
construction.
construction.
No, additional lot.
Okay. This is right on the river.
the lot is,
This lot, your mother's house.
my mom's house is on the river, but where the garage barn would be is not.
There's not.
Not directly on, but very close
Yeah,
to the river. So, I would be more favorably disposed to a project like this if it was D9. So, we'd have to look at it closely in terms of how it fits into the regulation. It's sort of not typical, atypical. And this, both East Shore Road and River Street are private roads?
Yes,
Okay.
it's all private down there.
And so you would be running across both River Street and East Shore Road to get to this?
Yes, we already
we already
have.
did that.
Okay.
The well is connected to the house, 36. And I
We
put that,
started this many years ago and then life got in the way, so we had to stop, but all of the stuff that's been done with the well and the piping has already been approved, obviously, and
Mhm.
done.
So this is the well here, okay, so the well's right here, right there. And that serves this empty lot and,
Yeah, lot
36.
122. If you look at, I'm sorry, why don't you look at this one? Yeah. Oh, you got it there.
I don't have one though.
I was trying to figure out across the street, and I didn't, when you said across the street, I went straight, not that way. So I was trying to figure out,
Right.
what property are they talking about? So I looked it up, so,
Yeah. And that lot is over 200 feet from the river because the property line on 150, lot 150, 152 is 165 and the road's 40. So there's 205 right there, and I don't show the riverfront on this plan, so. It's in the flood zone, yes.
Can you, what's the current design capacity of the existing system? Is it like 3 bedrooms?
2 bedrooms.
It's 2 bedrooms,
Yeah.
okay,
It was a repair for an existing cottage,
right.
and there was no way to expand it. You cannot put a system on this lot, the vacant lot.
Right, right. Well, I'm just trying, yeah. Okay,
and the reason you can't put a system there?
so,
No, because it's the wells.
Oh, that's a very small lot.
That's why Wayne bought it. He bought it, put up a shed to put his boats and stuff in, but then he started thinking, after his uncle did this, right? Am I
Yeah.
correct?
Well, it's he and me.
And you,
We're
I'm
all,
sorry.
we're all thinking about
I
this.
keep leaving you out.
That's all right, I'm right here, Lenny. No big deal. I just live here.
and so the reason I'm asking, so if this was, if the scenario was that you were gonna construct a 2-bedroom house, but you still need to design it as for 3-bedroom?
You can, yes, but you can design it for 2, but it just requires a deed restriction.
Tries a deed restriction.
Requires a deed restriction. Okay, that's, okay, so, all right. Okay, so maybe that's not it.
So you're proposing, you're gonna build this studio barn with 1 bedroom. It's not built yet.
No.
And
But
the
we're
question
taking it-
is whether or not you have to have D-night because you're keeping the same number of bedrooms.
Right,
It's not
exactly.
Yeah, we're
thinking
not
it's an
adding-
increase in flow, but it kind of goes back to what we just said to someone who was here previously, is that, I mean, this is new construction, according to our regulation, which would require the D-night.
Yeah.
Just to say, so what kind of concerns me is that this is clearly new construction from how we would normally treat it under the regulations. And we get into clearly legitimate, but these variations of scenarios where the design, the flow design of the system ends up kind of controlling whether or not you put in denitrification technology or not. You know, so someone could, you know, and it is the much overused, probably for us, a little bit of slippery slope issue, which is so that then someone else comes in and says, okay, well, I've got a 5-bedroom house and I'm gonna knock it down and I'm gonna build a brand new 5-bedroom house, which is just, someone came in just before this. And, you know, so the design flow is the same.
Yeah.
So why can't I, you know, and so it's not really new from a design flow point of view. And what do we say to that? And then, so it goes, and it ends up, you know, that, because we try to be consistent in our decisions and not say, well, we really, like, you know, we like you, we don't like you, so we're gonna come up, we're gonna say yes and no, that that you would need to have a compelling kind of environmental just infeasibility case, to make the case that I can't do it here. I'd like to do it here, but I can't because it's, we can't engineer it, or that there's some other really significant problem, because otherwise we'll lose the objective that we were trying to achieve by requiring systems that reduce nitrogen, which ends up going into the river, which makes it, which is not helpful for the river. So there's a logic to what you're saying,
Yeah.
but it risks putting us in a situation where we're just kind of accepting that there'll be a lot of these scenarios that will come up, and in situations where denitrification would make sense, we wouldn't do it because we said yes to you and we said yes to the applicant who came in previously and said, I'm demolishing the house and I'm just building a brand new house, and why not let me keep the system the way it is? And the answer, in a simple way, is, well, the regulation requires new construction to have denitrification, and that alleviates a lot of the confusion.
It's also, it wasn't an arbitrary decision to pursue the requiring D-Night for new construction and upgrading cesspools. It's all part of our trying to clean up the river and targeting where does it make most sense. Well, cesspools are the worst performing systems, so let's give people time. They've got to then, because they're at least 50 years old. They really should have been upgraded probably. Hopefully. And then new construction, if people are starting fresh, new, you make a definition, then there's an opportunity that we shouldn't pass up, and especially for ones that are 200 feet from the river is still pretty much on the river in terms of environmental impact. So I would not be too inclined, but I will say, as I said to the prior person, you can request a formal variance, notify abutters, do the whole.
Variance for what, though? I don't know.
Variance to our local septic regulation requiring D-Night for new construction.
So you're all thinking that D-Night is the issue here. I'm not sure that it is. The question is the concept that we're doing seem like it's gonna work. We're gonna take a bedroom out of here and put it over here. If it's allowable under the zoning issue, but
That's the question you asked, though. The actual flow would not be increased, so would D-Night be required? That's the question you asked
I
on here.
probably typed too fast.
Okay. So what's the question then, Leonard?
No, the question is this concept seeming heading in the right direction?
Yeah.
We do a Title V inspection on the septic system that they did not do over here, and there's no D-Night on this one, so that's the question.
We were responding to that question.
That wasn't new construction, so there's
They built a garage.
Yeah.
No, I researched this before the meeting. That version of our regulation didn't have the requirement of a structure requiring an occupancy permit as defined as new construction. That didn't come into effect until October of '22.
Right.
Not January of '22.
Right.
Okay.
That's
Right.
why.
We clarified that because
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
all situations can be through.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Okay, so if I did D-Night on this, I think what I would do is just keep this tank as it is, tank/pump chamber, pump up to this septic tank instead of going to the distribution box and replace this unit with a D-nut unit, because you want to denitrify both.
Right,
Am I correct?
yes.
Okay?
You got direction now?
Yep.
Yeah.
And you're gonna do a Title V inspection on the existing system?
Yeah.
Because it's just trenches, if I remember correctly?
2 trenches, yeah. That's all we have room for.
Yeah.
I have a question about, so you own both those properties. Is it possible that you could, what would happen if, say, you decided to sell one but not the other?
Can't. It'd have to be joined legally. I'm sure the zoning board of appeals is gonna require that.
Okay.
There's no septic system on it. How are you gonna sell it? It'll have to become a shared system at that
Right.
point.
Right, and it, well, yeah.
You
But
see
we
what
haven't
I'm saying?
also, still haven't determined whether it's considered buildable for the barn. So
Correct.
that's
Yeah.
another,
And
That's
then-
another issue. That's a zoning issue.
thank God it's not.
And this has to go to zoning board of appeals regardless, because this is an accessory
Accessory
apartment.
unit. yeah.
Okay. And so, but it's the system that's set up for 2 bedrooms?
System exists now for 2 bedrooms.
Okay. I was thinking, does she really have to close out the other bedroom, but if it's a D-night, but if it's only a 2-bedroom system, yes.
When her parents renovated this cottage, which they owned previously, they did not own this lot. And then this lot became up for sale,
Right.
and I went and did all the research on it, and it's impossible to put a system on it without encroaching on wells. If anybody could have found a way, it would have been me, but I could not.
So if we were to upgrade to a D-night system, can we do more than 2 bedrooms?
No, the lot's too small.
The lots are too small.
Yeah,
Okay.
Wait a minute, let me look.
I think the total combined is 22,000 square feet.
Yeah, 0.26 acres and 0.26 acres, they're both the same size, so 0.52, so you only got 20,000 square feet. Sorry, 20,000 square feet.
Say what?
A little better than 20,000 square feet.
And what do we need to do a 3-bedroom?
You need
Three.
probably around
Oh, 25,000 would be nice.
25,000.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Maybe you can buy.
25,000 would be nice.
Yeah, right.
Right, that's the D-night,
All right, I got the idea.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna give these plans back to you, right?
Yes, please, don't. Let's not have erroneous plans for it. Thank you.
Oh, you need it back?
Yeah, I want it back now. If you really want to keep it, you can. I just don't want 2 sets of the wrong
There
plan.
you go.
Yeah, these are not the accurate plans.
Yeah,
They're,
yeah.
just a- Yeah.
Give us an idea.
Trial runs, yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you
for your time.
Appreciate your patience.
Okay. I lost track of my agenda.
I think there's
The
only
last
one thing
one,
left,
Yep.
which is Donna's motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Well, I just have a question before, let's do that.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Mr.
Thanks a
Clark.
lot.
Thanks, Lana. Just on, I can't remember, and I think because I didn't jot it down, on Linda and I's contract, did you guys take a vote on that to move it to the select board, or did you not take a vote? I can't remember.
We voted just to approve, and I didn't formally say to forward to the select board.
I think we should
Okay.
take a formal.
Yeah, because I
So,
just,
all right, so I move that we endorse the employment agreement of Linda Pierce and Matt Armendo and
I
forward
wrote
it,
down that we did.
and forward it to the Board
Oh,
of Selectmen
and,
for
okay.
their signature.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Thank
Just to
you.
be 100%
Okay.
clear.
I want to be able to say with confidence, if asked, that the board will approve this.
Well, we did vote to approve
approve
it,
it.
but I didn't really clearly say
To go to the select board.
legally, we don't. I don't go down that path.
Is there any other business?
I don't believe so.
So being no other business, I move that we adjourn this meeting at 5:39 PM.
Second.
All in favor? Aye, that's unanimous, thank you.